Okay, welcome to the Freshmen RadioHeads here on WHIT Radio.org. I'm Mr. P, and in the studio today is Jason, Andrew, and Keating. And we have a great show for you today. We have all about Rome. We're going to talk about Rome. We're going to talk about the civilization. The beginnings of communication started right here, along with some other ancient civilizations. So to start it off, we're going to start off with Keating, and he's going to tell us a little bit about the background of Rome. So, Keating?
All right, well, there's many speculations, too, as how Rome started, but apparently there's a myth that it was started by two twin brothers called Romulus and Remus, and they were basically the sons of the god Mars and a Latin princess. So basically, they were abandoned as babies and left on the Tiber River and raised by a she-wolf. And eventually they discovered the city and built it up for its fertile soil and because of the prime location that Rome was in.
And it became a great civilization.
Yes, it did.
It spanned almost a third of the world, and it lasted for about 800 years. So, Jason, what do we have? Can we add to that?
Rome is probably most well known for being the world's first organized republic. Mm-hmm. They were one of the first nations to do away with a monarchy and have elected leaders. They were ruled by a senate. Our modern day culture here in the U.S. is very heavily influenced by Rome because it just laid the foundation for pretty much all Western culture, particularly European culture.
Absolutely right. They had a senate. They had democracy or republic, at least on paper. But Rome was ruled mostly by emperors. And one of the reasons that Julius Caesar was assassinated was that the senators thought he had too much power or was going to obtain too much power. Okay. Thank you, Jason. And Andrew, what do you have to tell us about Rome?
During the Republic, there are the law code of 12 called the 12 Tables. And it has two officials called the councils who can control the government and command the army, and they also have a senate and the assemblies. When there's crisis, the Republic can appoint a dictator who can only rule for 6 months.
Okay. And Keating, I know you did a lot of research here. Could you tell us a little bit about, Rome as builders, and they built aqueducts, and they had architecture and art and first newsletter. So, Keating?
Well, like you said, Rome had many innovations that we still depend on today. As you said, aqueducts was a way for them to get water to the city without having to travel to a river. And in fact, the Romans actually heavily depended on water because they took showers as many times as 10 times a day.
Wow.
So we know that.
They had the spas or the baths.
Yeah, they had local bathrooms. Yeah. They had things like concrete that could dry underwater. Mm-hmm. And even like some of their pillars that were used for like some of their grand tapestries of architecture we still use today, such as if you go to Washington, you can see that a lot of the architecture that's used even on the White House was influenced by Roman culture. So that's something. Yeah.
That's amazing. I did not know that they took 10 baths a day sometimes. See, I learned something every day. Thank you, Keating. And Jason, tell us a little bit about how they communicated with each other. Do you have anything on that?
The Romans, they had a standard language. They all spoke a form of Latin known as Vulgar Latin. Mm-hmm. Rome depended very heavily on its roads, and this was a big leap forward from previous civilizations. It basically allowed them to move about their empire faster, which was very important because it was one of the largest empires in history. They were ruled about a third of the civilized world at one point. And this was very useful, particularly in their military campaigns, because Rome was constantly being invaded and fighting in wars. And in this very large empire, they needed to get information from, let's say, like the province of Judea to Rome. Like when there was rebellions, they could get it there very fast.
Well, Jason, that's interesting information, very pertinent information, and Rome, great civilization, became corrupted, and that's why it fell. But we still are influenced by it today in our daily lives. And Andrew, just wrap it up for us. Give us a final conclusion here.
Even though there's no more Roman Empire, well, the cultures still exist, influenced to everyone, including America, because of the architectures and the laws and the communications.
Okay, thank you, Andrew. Thank you, Jason. Thank you, Keating. This has been the Freshman RadioHeads. I'm Mr. P. We've been talking about Rome, all about Rome, its communications, its empire, and I want to thank you for joining us right here at WHITradio.org.